we are at the Museum of the Rockies in Bozeman, Montana, the end of the trail. Here we have the main lobby. We have the Taylor Planetarium over here, where you get your tickets, the Blair lobby, and the gift shop. So let's get in line and see the place.
The planetarium was great. I watched a 3D movie on telescopes and their use in exploring space. It was fantastic. The Museum of the Rockies is one of the largest dinosaur collections in the world. Once I bought my ticket and entered the hall, we were transported back to the early Precambrian period of 500 to 425 million years ago as we followed the changes to marine life up to the first amphibian-type creature who ventured from the seas. When we entered the Dinosaurs Under the Big Sky segment, here we had an actual laboratory with a paleontologist at work on cleaning a fossil, and you could watch him as he worked away on it. Then we learned the 3 theories of paleontology. Then we saw what are called jackets, which are how the fossils are protected and transported from the field to the research stations. We then moved on to marine reptiles and their fossil finds. Here is a species of small burrowing dinosaurs that found it safer underground than on top of the ground, with the large meat eaters always preying upon them and looking for a fast meal. Cute looking little guys, aren't they? And here is an interesting exhibit showing 2 dinosaurs in a struggle for life and death, showing on one side their outward appearance and on the other side their skeletal structures. Quite a unique exhibit in itself. Here are some different dinosaur feet. Paleontologists are working hard to discover the sounds dinosaurs may have made through X-rays of fossil dinosaur skulls and making 3D models of the sinus passages. They are learning how the dinosaurs made sounds. Here are some examples of different egg clutches also found fossilized out in the field. It is believed that dinosaurs were good parents, doing their best to protect their young from the more dangerous meat eaters in their areas, hunting the young. Here's what I would call the Great Room, with several Triceratops species along the edge, and in the center, a great skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus rex looming over the small crowd below. Here is one of those mystery skull dinosaurs that we saw at earlier stop-offs. And here is an armored beast with its tail fossilized that it used as a club. And here is its head fossilized. And here is a skeleton of a Triceratops with its offspring walking alongside it. And as we turn around, we see the Tyrannosaurus rex that seems to be peering over our shoulders, watching us move around and throughout the room beneath him, ever watchful of our presence there. Here is the skull of a mastodon and a model of one at the base. And next is the skull of a woolly mammoth with one of its large, huge tusks. If you have a love of dinosaurs or an interest in paleontology and can't fly back to the East Coast to the Scripps Museum, then this is the second best thing and closer to home that you must see on any journey through Montana. But there is so much more here to see at this museum than just the dinosaurs. There's exhibits on the frontier, on Native Americans, on the 30s, and also traveling exhibits such as the Vinci experience, which I was pleased to enjoy and explore for a while. Here is a walkthrough of the Vinci experience. It has several examples of the old master's genius for people to try out and watch. His parachute, for one thing, his diving suit with a air bill, his catapult, which was used in many movies, it seems, his fan gun for multiple shots at one time, and his cannon. Also, there was his famous tank. And as the Da Vinci experience funneled us out of the museum onto the grounds, we moved over to a living history farmhouse as an example of a homestead in Montana in the mid-1800s. They had a variety of displays, actors in period dress in each room explaining what everything was for and how the people at that time lived on the farm. They had structures that showed how they created and made their own belongings, farmed their land, and lived on the frontier with no government assistance. They were all self-sustained. Here is a well which they dug and got their water. Here is a root house which they dug down into the ground that kept their fresh foods cold and prevented them from spoiling, much like my grandmother had a root cellar underneath her house as I grew up. Tired and sweaty, I decided to cancel my last stay and resolved to drive back home to much cooler weather and a larger bed. So we called the trip complete and journeyed on our way home.